welcome to the Interaction Design and Architecture number 58, Meet the Authors session, entitled Design Education for Hybrid Environments, Pedagogies, Frameworks, and Tools for Crafting Next Generation Physical Digital Spaces. Well, my name is Liliana Costa, and jointly with Professor Oscar Mialha from the University of Aveiro PG Media Research Centers, we are the hosts of this session, and I have also the pleasure to communicate that we have a new member of our team, Ingrid Mulder from Delft University, who will be with us in the next sessions, Meet the Authors. Thank you, Ingrid, for joining us and came along to this challenge. So, this special issue covers the use of pedagogies, frameworks, and tools, given the increasing need to constantly transit among physical and digital spaces. Of particular interest is the framework that the editors bring with the hybrid shorts diagram, in which they combine the dimensions of medium, presence, and time. Here with us is one of the editors, Daniel Munoz, of this special issue. Daniel, please let us know what this session is about.
My screen. So yeah, thank you so much for the introduction, and I'm very excited to meet everyone today remotely in a hybrid way. And yeah, I think, well, my name is Daniel Rosenberg Munoz. In Chile, we keep the last name for the father and the mother. And I'm a professor at the CMU School of Design, and we wrote this paper with a couple of colleagues here, Peter Scupelli, Dina El-Sanfanli, and Dara Bern is in the School of Architecture. So we were collaborating together. And this started as a workshop we did at Creative and Cognition Conference in Venice in 2022 or 23, I forgot. As we kind of start thinking about this, because we kind of deal with this problem as educators teaching in the schools on this topic. So we thought about inviting people to share their experiences. I'm going to introduce kind of our initial framework and then how these hybridity courts were developed to kind of be able to try to map or understand the landscape and the richness of the papers that were submitted. So as you, Liliana, were introducing, we kind of live in a world where, you know, we live in this sort of, we can call it hybrid or blended, where blended with physical, digital, where we interact with things, with new technologies, you know, from mobile, you know, to AR, VR, interactive IoT, tangible. And this is kind of constantly evolving and changing. And as educators in design, we educate our students to design the future of these sort of experiences. So that's kind of like the challenge here that we confront within our own institution, teaching at the School of Design. And this is kind of the base part where we kind of look into, based on Milgram Kishino's virtual continuum, is a very famous type of continuity line in the mixed reality framework. We kind of change it a little bit, but this was kind of the way we were thinking initially. And this, of course, was expanded to the papers that were presented, of going from fully physical to fully immersed in this sort of like virtual space. Where, for example, AR is in the middle, where although we're using a screen, the screen kind of elements of the world are integrated in the screen, or even where screen-based technologies on the second to last are situated as well. Although you could be very looking at the screen, and we saw in some of the papers an interesting perspective on that. Even now, as we are talking, right, I'm looking at the screen. But, you know, through my periphery of attention, I can see outside today, likely, finally, it's sunny outside, and I'm situated in this room, and each one of you. and one of the things that we ask you is to include photographs of that, because we wanted to see if someone is presenting a VR game. We love to see the VR game on the screen, but we love to see people playing with the VR game. Where are they? What classroom are they? Are they playing from the home? Kind of these situations. But this was the base medium that we started from. So we invited very openly to look different pedagogies or frameworks or tools that people were developing to teach how to design this type of for this type of space, physical digital spaces. And from our experience, this is you need to be cross-trained across different elements like interactive technology, physical environments, across scales from objects to spaces. And we wanted to see how people are approaching this problem. And as a context, this is kind of some images of our world here, and I just put a couple in there. But from, we make things, we use digital fabrication is one way to think about even about hybridity too, and IoT stuff, electronics, spatial computing, tracking, motion tracking system, etc., projections, AR stuff, where, like we are designing this sort of hybrid type of spaces. And we, at this level, we were not thinking too much about the idea of presence and time, which is the one what we added. So as we started, and it's been very open, and when we decided to write the preface, as we were reviewing the papers that you submitted, we were really interested in seeing that our initial perspective was narrow and that was expanded to the topics that were presented. So we wanted to embrace that and expand our understanding. So your papers propose a unique strategies to address and leverage the concept of hybridity within educational settings beyond what we were looking for. And that's how we started kind of reframing our initial framework that is here at the bottom. So at the bottom, you have the medium, which was the basic initial way we were thinking about hybridity, but then we added the presence and time, which was based on I have it here, 1 second. The time space matrix presented by Cal, the second paper. So we use this as, and we tried, just to be open with you, I wish I could show you our whiteboard upside here, where when we're trying to map all the papers and connect them and think about ways to map these different perspectives. So we finally decided to think about this idea of chords, like in the guitar, where we have these chords, and each of the paper is playing different chords, kind of touching these strings in different ways. And the mapping, you may argue, is not maybe the way you thought about it, or you may have feedback for us. This was our interpretation of your papers, and it's just a way to get the conversation started, and we love to talk about it. But this is the 6 papers mapped together, and the hybrid chords diagram that we propose, where we look at each paper and what are the different elements that are being touched. The first paper, it's interesting because it's kind of building on our maybe initial understanding of hybridity, where we have the IoT devices, and they are in the same location in the classroom, being used in the lab, and at the same time, right? So this is kind of this line, and it's in the context of the base layer is in the physical computing, because it's an IoT thing. The second paper, it's introduces, interestingly enough, we learn a lot from this paper because they introduce the time-space matrix. And we wanted to kind of, we use it to expand our understanding. And in this case, they had a synchronous same location, but they have different type of mediums like AR, screen-based, VR. They explore very interesting teaching methodology to approach these different type of technologies. The third chord, there were a lot of them were kind of in this synchronous same location, but now with AR in the context of children education with physical books and AR. The fourth chord has two chords, you know, like you touch one string a couple of times. Where the first one was in this one, I think what really interests us from this one is the idea that you know, there's this virtual game that is you know, played remotely, right? Screen based. We put it close to VR, but it was based on a screen, although it was a you know, a immersive game. You were playing it in a screen. So we were talking about the medium here. There was no VR headset as far as we know, but it was also connected to activities that were happening in person with physical, in this surveying physical spaces. I guess not surveying the spaces where they teach how to survey the environment for engineer students. But those two were kind of work together. This chord, we really like this one too. All of these one were kind of like interesting to discuss because this one, although they were showing synchronous and remote screen-based educational settings in design, they show them in a situated way and showing kind of what I was just describing before, where, you know, where people having Zoom meetings or doing remote activities, but they explore how this happened in a situated way where each one was in different spaces and they analyzed that experience in a very interesting and nuanced way. So we added the physical here because it was happening at the same time. The sixth chord, and I'm talking about each paper as chords here, was a complex one, kind of again, work done on the medium layer with physical computing and also some screen-based stuff. But then they had some combination of remote and same location, but all of that, this as synchronous. It was a difficult chord to play. And one of the things that we like about this chord is we were able to kind of find relationship between the different papers and expand our initial understanding of hybridity, but also explore areas that are not played yet, you know, like this. The asynchronous area is free to exploration, so future work or new combination can happen in that space. New combinations, of course, could happen that could be learned across papers, but also new layers. We thought maybe it could be new layers that could be added to this new type of way to think about hybridity. So it's an open system that can also help us think about the future of physical digital type of experiences in education and in the context of design. So I guess as we start learning from the papers themselves, which is I'm really excited to meet each one of you and learn from your work. The way we frame, again, initially this goal had to be adjusted and expanded by your contributions and to include medium, presence, and time, and then expanding from the medium to these other dimensions. So that's kind of the way we were able to kind of explore connections between the different papers and expand this journal framework, initially framework, to your contributions. And we're very thankful for that. And we hope we can keep this conversation open as you share your work and we expand this framework further.